Hello, colleagues at SAP. Thank you for having us at DKOM. We're very happy and we're very proud to be here and to present you what we do with the cool technologies at SAP. I'm Nico. I'm competence lead at Flexso Digital, more specifically the Extension Factory, and we focus on building cool extensions on SAP. And I'm focusing on the digital core part of the story.
And my name is Thomas. I'm Nico's co-competence lead, and where Nico focuses more on the digital core, on extensions on the digital core. My focus is more on extending the line of business cloud solutions like SuccessFactors or C4C using business technology platform.
Today, we want to show you what we do with the technologies and what we do as the Extension Factory to extend the digital core and all the cloud solutions at SAP. We try to always pioneer with all the new technologies at SAP, and this often solves our problems, but let's be honest, sometimes we also get additional problems because it's very new and not always documented in the right way. So maybe a short introduction to Flexso. So Flexso is a consultancy company in Belgium. We have 350 consultants already and still growing, and it's 350 people really wanting to create cool things with SAP. We really grew from 2004 till now in all kinds of ways, but the most important one is we started with technology in mind, but also a focus on the business. But we saw that technology was very important in SAP, so we grew our team, and we now have an entity on its own, Flexso Digital, that is 100% focused on building extensions on top of SAP and focusing on the technology. So Flexso Digital, we really want to focus on technology, and we want to try to make it human. So we want to really bring the technology to the customers and the employees to solve their requirements and to bring the best experience in their daily work. That is our focus. And for this, next to that, we also want to focus on community, because we really believe in the community around the development and knowledge sharing. So we take part in a lot of these events. Also this year, we've joined the App House community. So we really believe in the design thinking aspect of building solutions. So we are now partnered with App House. And apart from that, we also do code jams for different technologies. We've hosted the UI5Con, and we also joined Fiori Makers and presented some of our use cases already there. So we really believe in the sharing of the knowledge. But the Extension Factory, we also mentioned it, but it's a part in the Flexso Digital entity that really focuses on building custom applications on top of SAP. So building extensions on top of SAP. That is our main focus. We also deliver advice for architecture and services on how to use services in BTP. That's also something we do, and we have all kinds of developers. So Node.js, Java, CAP, we have it all. We, next to building extensions as a project, so for one customer, we also start to build packages and real software as a service solutions on BTP when we see that there is common ground for different customers. And of course, we also want to be scalable both in the product and in the team and use the best practices. So we really want to bring consistency to what we build at the different customers and have a great team working on different kinds of products. How do we work? We really believe in the design thinking. We're part of the App House. We start with getting to know the customer, the requirements, and we then move forward to understanding the requirements and mapping them to a solution, brainstorming with the customers, and then prototyping and having a good foundation to build upon and start the project.
Okay, so Nico explained to you how we work and who we are. I'm going to share a couple of examples of real life projects that we built with SAP technology for SAP customers. And one of the examples is at IMEC. IMEC is a research and development hub for nano and digital technology, and they have a strong focus on improving the quality of life. They work together with partners from private companies, but also with governments and with academia. And they employ a team of 5,000 expert scientists from over 95 countries who work together in this beautiful building in the city of Leuven in Belgium. And they have infrastructure in this building to build semiconductors or microchips. And all these scientists, they need to go to this building in the morning. And when the problem with that is traffic, of course. So nobody likes being in traffic, but if you want to commute in the morning to one of the cities, you have to face traffic. And IMEC wants to solve this problem by encouraging their employees to ride their bicycle to work as much as possible. So instead of spending your time in your car, you can use your bicycle, or if you live too far from your work, you can use the train, for example, and take the bicycle with you and do a combination of public transportation and commuting by bicycle. And to encourage their employees, they give a reward for every kilometer that you have ridden your bicycle to work each month. So for every kilometer that you've ridden your bike to work, you get a reward at the end of the month. And to keep track of these kilometers, they wanted to have an application for the employees to enter the biked days for each month. So together with the HR team, we did some brainstorming sessions and we created a prototype. And here you can see the result of this application. So it's an application, it's an extension on top of SuccessFactors. So we get the data from the employee, and I can enter a bike route, for example, a bike route from my home to the office in Brussels, which is 24 kilometers back and forward, and I will save it as my favorite bike route. And then I have an overview of all the months. So I can, for example, open the month of December, and I will say that I've worked on the office every Thursday, and I've ridden my bicycle there every Thursday, and I will save this. And then in my overview, you will see that for the month of December, I now have a total of 96 kilometers, and I've ridden my bicycle for 4 days during that month. So this information is now stored in SuccessFactors, and at the end of the month, this information will be sent to the payroll provider, and the monthly allowance will be paid together with your net wage. So here is the architecture of this solution. So we have an end user who connects to the portal service on an extension subaccount. The extension subaccount is connected with SAP SuccessFactors. And the portal service then redirects to an HTML5 application, a UI5 application, obviously. And we use a custom Express.js middleware. So why do we use Express.js and not CAP? Because in this project, the data model was very small. It's only a very limited amount of data. We just need to keep track of the routes and the ridden days. So we decided to store this information inside of SAP SuccessFactors, and we use the MDF APIs to connect to that data. So we created custom MDF entities for the custom data, and we connect to the MDF API using Express.js middleware. We also have a CPI instance running, and then at the end of each month, this instance collects all the payroll information together with the bicycle information, and it sends it to the payroll provider. Then the last step is we want to notify employees. We want to remind employees that they have to fill in their bicycle data. And instead of sending boring emails that nobody reads, we decided to use Microsoft Teams. We integrated Microsoft Teams with the SuccessFactors Action Center. So at the end of each month, we send a notification in SuccessFactors, and this notification is integrated with Microsoft Teams. So you will get a Microsoft Teams notification saying, don't forget to enter your bicycle information. Okay, so far the example of IMEC, where we created a bicycle allowance application. The next example is Bank de Groof-Petercam, which is a private bank, a private and corporate bank that was founded in 1871, so a bank with a lot of history, a company with a lot of history. And they are active in Belgium, France, Spain, Luxembourg, and Switzerland. And they offer private banking, asset management, and investment banking services to their clients. And in Belgium, they employ almost 1,000 employees. And for these employees, they wanted to create a mobility plan. So they want to put their employee in the driver's seat and let their employees choose how they want to commute to work, how they want to do their mobility. So each employee is given a yearly budget to spend on mobility options, and they can choose their own combination of mobility options with that budget. And for example, they can choose to lease a car, and they are very much encouraged to lease an electrical car. They can also choose to lease a bicycle, or have parking, an internal parking spot reserved for them at the office. They also can choose to have a public transportation subscription, or to have a temporary car, for example. This is a nice feature because people are encouraged to use an electrical car, but for example, once a year they want to go on a skiing holiday and they want to take their entire family, and an electrical car is not big enough and it's not very easy to drive it to the mountains. So they can temporarily rent a larger car which has a fuel engine, for example, so that they can have both benefits of the electrical car and of having a fuel car. They can also choose to have part of their budget paid out monthly. So if they don't spend the entire budget, they can choose to have a net increase, and more options can be added dynamically. So here's an example, here's a demo of the application. This is the employee dashboard that we see here. So I'm Bob Ross, and I started working at the bank only this month. It's now December 2021. So you can see that I have zero budget for the first 11 months of the year, and for the last month of the year I have a budget. But then for 2022 I have a full year's budget. So you can see that I have a total yearly budget of 11,750 euros. And because I'm currently not driving with any car, I'm also granted a bonus for driving with a green car, because not having a car is also a green car, obviously. So I'm going to choose to order a new car. So I click the Order a New Car button, and here I have to enter the data of the car that I want to order. So let's say that I want to lease a Tesla, an electrical car. I will choose a Model 3. I have to enter the amount of options that I want to have in that car, so the amount of options that will be added to the order, and I have to upload the quote. And I can indicate whether or not I want to have an internal parking spot reserved at the office, and I can submit that request. So as you can see now, the car is added to my view, so a part of my budget will be spent by the car once it has been ordered. You can see that the car will keep on running for the next 4 years, I think. So this obviously needs to be approved, so it's not automatically. There is a back office worker that needs to approve and really order the car. So we built a couple of applications for the back office workers as well. One of those applications is a managed subscriptions application, where you can find all the subscriptions linked to an employee. Here I will find the subscriptions that I just created for employee Bob Ross. You can see that I have a lease car and an indoor parking. So I can check the details here, I can open the quote, and then I can approve the order. So now an email is triggered to the lease company to really order that car. And once the lease company give me a confirmation that the car has been ordered, I also get a contract number, and I can enter the contract number here. And also for the indoor parking, I will approve the order and I will enter the contract number. Okay, so if I go back now to my employee dashboard, you can see that the status will be updated. So instead of submitted, the car will now be ordered. And then once that the car is, the delivery date of the car is known, the lease company will automatically send the data back to this system, and the data will be updated. So there's an automatic interface between the lease companies and our system. Okay, so the architecture of this solution. Again, we have an end user connecting to the portal service, where we deployed a couple of UI5 apps. And in this project, we chose to work with CAP. We really like CAP, by the way. So we always want to work with CAP, but in some use cases, it's just not, the use case is not big enough to have a HANA database. But in this case, it was. It's really a large custom data model. All the products, all the configuration, all the subscriptions, all the workflows are stored in custom data. So it's really a large custom data model. So we deployed a HANA Cloud database, and we have a CAP application on top of that. Next to that, we also enrich our data in our application with the SuccessFactors EC APIs. For example, we want to know the pay grade of an employee, or want to know whether or not he's working on full time or not. And we also have APIs with a public transport provider. So to order public transportation subscriptions, we have an API with a provider. Then next to that, we have a CPI instance running, and the CPI instance collects data from our system and integrates this data with the lease companies through a flat file interface. So all the new orders cars are automatically imported in our system by this interface. So the demo that I showed you was the employee dashboard. In this application, this application was for the 1,000 employees. The UX is very important. It really needs to be pixel perfect, and it's very important to show the information correctly. So we developed a freestyle UI5 application for this. But all the other applications, they are more for a limited user group, and they are very technical and transactional applications. So to speed up the development process and also to keep the UX consistent, we chose to use Fiori elements here. And yeah, back at the time, CAP was very new. This was only our second CAP project that we did, so that was already quite challenging to find the right documentation. But for Fiori elements on CAP, it was even more difficult because it was still in beta test, but we just decided to give it a go, and we tried to get it working, but we couldn't get it working. And eventually we found a blog on SAP's website explaining a couple of features of Fiori elements, and we just took the first and the last name of the author of that blog and did first name dot last name at SAP DKOM and sent him an email. And yeah, he was very excited. We immediately got an answer, and he was very excited to help us. So a big thanks to Marcel Wachter, one of your colleagues who helped us out, and he really debugged our applications and helped us get everything working. And thanks to him, now we have a lot of Fiori element applications live for this customer. So big thanks.
So I believe that the examples we've shown are great examples to let you know what we are building and what we use the technology for on SAP. But it's not the only things we develop. We have a lot more extensions we built, and some of them we see that a lot of customers have the same use case and can also use those kinds of solutions. So those are identified as packages, and we also put them on the store. So if you go to the store and browse your Flexso, you will see that we have a lot more extensions there. So an example is the resume matching, for instance, which matches the resume of people with certain jobs and gives a percentage on how much fit there is. So working with machine learning to make the process more easier and more correct for the customers. Next to packages, we also have accelerators, because not always we have a solution that can be that can work for every customer, but they often can be an accelerator, reusing code, reusing a foundation, and then again together with the customer building for their experience and leveraging what we can. So those are the accelerators that we also have in the store. So I think the bottom line of what we want to tell you is that we really love working together with the Flexso team to create cool solutions, but also with SAP together.
Yeah, so we are always excited to use the latest technologies and services available, but sometimes this can add an additional complexity to the projects. But we always try to make the decisions on the long run, and we also benefit from adapting these new technologies in the early stages. So as Nico showed you in the beginning, we already work together a lot with SAP, and we only just want to extend this partnership. So if you have any beta testing partners, if you have a requirement for beta testing partners or for any other cool new features that you want to try out, please, our email addresses are in this slide deck. Please just contact us. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think now it's time for the live Q&A session. So I hope we get a lot of questions there. And thank you very much for attending our session.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.